Let me show you a picture of the guy we're fighting in Iraq, this Muqtada al-Sadr. Look at that. Could you, if this guy wanted to take a picture that suggested the idea of pure evil, could he have found a better picture? So this is the radical cleric that the Republicans should be afraid of. Here's Reverend Wright, who is Obama. Well, nice man. Not afraid of this man. Go back to this guy. Afraid. The cleric you should be afraid of. Not afraid. This man. There you go. Not afraid. This man. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make that point.
Ugly son.
Who's it? Yeah, exactly. And I'm just appalled at the mainstream media's treatment of this Reverend Wright. Now, based on a couple of clips on YouTube, and I'm asking you, because you deal with these subjects all the time, is this not a kind of a worse racism when the mainstream media has rallied around this, and when I say mainstream, I mean white media, I guess, rallied around this idea that Reverend Wright is a nut. They all call him a kook. He's a loony bin. He's out there. I don't know why this guy is a nut. Because he says things that we don't like? Because 20 seconds of him on YouTube sums up a career? Would they do that to a white person? This guy was in the Marines. No one doubts that he served this community valiantly for 30 or 40 years in Chicago. It does seem like this is a worse sort of racism than the obvious sort.
In the fine tradition of the black church, I'd say amen to everything you've just said.
Well, don't bring the church up to me.
Yeah, I know. But it's a legitimate question, and I'm glad that we get a chance to kind of unpack this tonight, because I couldn't agree more with everything you've said. He has been demonized. He has been thrown under the bus. And I mentioned earlier, I want to come back to this Douglas definition of patriot. A true patriot is a lover of his country who rebukes and does not excuse its sins. When you look at what Jeremiah Wright had to say, and look at it in context, Jeremiah Wright, many Americans don't understand, is standing in a Kingian tradition. 1 week from tonight, we will commemorate the 40th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. King.
Who never would have said those things.
No, wrong. He did say those things. Let me explain. He did say those things.
Well, he certainly, maybe not publicly.
Not publicly. Let's straighten this out. Publicly.
But he wasn't saying it publicly either. He was in his church.
Well, that's publicly. That's public enough. But King found, as he always did, a love language to express himself. But everybody wants to cast Martin King as a dreamer. Martin King, as you know, came out and gave a speech called Why I'm Opposed to Vietnam. And in that speech, he talked about God's judgment on America. He talked about America being arrogant. This is King, who we love so much and revere and have the holiday and cast as a dreamer. He talked about an arrogant America. He talked about God's judgment on America. And he said these words at the time, that the U.S. is the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today. The minute he said that, he fell off the list of the most admired Americans. In 1967, they disinvited him to the White House. Here's a guy who in 64 and 65 helped Lyndon Johnson sign the Voting Rights and Civil Rights Act. In 67, a couple years later, they disinvite him from the White House. In 68, they shoot him dead. Part of being a patriot means to stand as a truth teller and say what's got to be said. What's wrong with Wright?
But just so you don't get into trouble, the they that disinvited him from the White House is a little different than the they who shot him dead.
I can debate you. I can debate you on that.
Really?
I can debate you on that.
You're a nut.
But, I mean, he's a spectacular and underrated American because he accomplished everything nonviolently, and he flawed. We know he was a philanderer of sorts. We know because J. Edgar Hoover was listening wearing his sister's high heels.
Right.
But you can't compare the two. He would never have said those things.
But you can. The two did something very important. They put race on the table.
Exactly.
It's something that we have to discuss. It's not just race, it's discrimination across the board.
And I want to quote here from Pat Buchanan's column. Pat's been a guest on our show. Pat's a happy warrior. You can't hate him.
He's a racial arsonist.
But he is a racist.
He's a racial arsonist.
Listen to what he says. Now he quotes Barack Obama from his speech a couple of weeks ago when Barack Obama said that we have to acknowledge what ails the African-American community and that it doesn't just exist in the minds of black people. Here's Pat Buchanan's answer. He says, America has been the best country on earth for black folks. No people anywhere has done more to lift up blacks than white Americans. Welfare, food stamps, rent supplements, Section 8 housing. I guess that's for crazy people, a Section 8. That's astounding to me that someone would say in 2000. What?
You see that other thing he said? He said they came over 40,000 of them,
yes.
600,000 in slave ships, like it was a princess cruise, and they were
right.
introduced to Christian
Christian salvation.
Salvation. That's an Ann Coulter job.
And reached the greatest level. Right. Right. They came over here. Look, I'm Irish. My ancestors did not have cushy plantation jobs waiting for them.
How much time? How much time, to the point we made earlier about the double standard, how much time is the mainstream media going to spend castigating, dissecting, digging into, taking to task Pat Buchanan for being the kind of racial arsonist that he is, for stoking the fire? Only on this show have I heard any in-depth conversation, the kind we're having now, about what Buchanan said that is so far beyond the pale. It's nonsense. And the thing that hit me earlier today, Pat is not just a racial arsonist, he's kind of politically schizophrenic. Isn't this the same fool that in 2000, as the Reform Party candidate, had a black woman as his running mate named Izola Foster? So which side of this are you on?
He's cooked. But
he had a black woman.
But I don't quote him for any other reason that I think he represents what a lot of people in this country think, which is like, come on, black people, get over it. You know, it's been years since slavery. Don't be an ungrateful Negro.
I don't think that's fair. Who else have you seen say that kind of thing besides Pat Buchanan?
I think he speaks for a lot of people.
But who else have you ever heard say something?
Have you ever been to St. Louis? I don't mean to pick on St. Louis. I'm sure I'm going to do comedy.
But the larger question is
But I'm just saying middle America, there's a lot of people, and coastal America, lots of America, think exactly like this. Are you kidding? He's not just speaking for one person. He's speaking for a vast swath of this country who just doesn't understand why someone would be ingrateful or have a quibble about what's going on between the races in this country at this late date. And he quotes, he says this. He says crime and incarceration rates for African Americans are 7 times those of white America. Which seems to me, if you quote a statistic like that, if you say incarceration and crime levels, blacks 7 times those of whites, you come to one of 2 conclusions. One, something happened before the era we live in to make one group of people 7 times more likely to commit crimes, or that other group is just morally inferior. There seems to be no
They also don't get the same justice. They don't have the same lawyers.
Precisely.
Right. But that seems to be what he is saying. 7 times, you know.
He's cooked, man. He's not worth it.
Okay.
No, I disagree on that 1 second, Robert.
MSNBC, he looks so tired now, like a spaniel. You know, they're trying to get his word in on the McLaughlin report. You know, he holds back, his sweat, the comb over it. He's gone. Gone.
I just want to add it right quick, though. But that's the part that troubles me. That's the part. What troubles me, this goes back to what Bill said a moment ago. What troubles me is that Jeremiah Wright gets dismissed as being cuckoo, as being crazy, being anti-American, and now we want to poo-poo Pat Buchanan's comments. Oh, it's just Pat Buchanan. He's, you know, that doesn't work. If you're going to go after Jeremiah Wright in the way they've gone after him, let's dissect what Buchanan has said. And I'm telling you, the mainstream media is not going to do that. They're not going to do that.
All right.
How about Pat Wright?
Bring on our real-time real reporter. He also writes the internationally syndicated sex column Savage Love. Dan Savage is right over here. Dan. All right. So, you heard what we were talking about. Let me ask you quickly, because you're a radical. Have you ever said, God damn America? Because I think that's the worst thing they find this guy say. God damn America. Because I watch the TV, but the TV. What am I, 80? I watch the TV. But I watch TV, and about 3 times a week I see something going on where I say something akin to that. Because this country is so greedy and so...
Who hasn't said goddamn blank about things that they love? I've said goddamn my mother when she's gotten on my nerves. Like, we have a right to curse out the people and things we love the most. What else would make you as angry as the things you love the most?
Thank you. Okay. So, we sent you out this week to find out the answer to a question that I'm very curious about, because all the media is all about how the Democrats are basically devouring each other right now. that's a startling percentage of Obama voters are